I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:30 on Monday, May 1st, 2017. First up, does any member of the board have a conflict of interest with anything appearing on the agenda this evening?
No.
No.
Approval of minutes. We have circulated minutes from our last meeting on, let me get back to the right folder here. On April 17th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of April 17th as circulated?
So moved.
By Tony.
Second.
Second by Art. Any additions or corrections? All
Did not find any.
all in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
The minutes from April 17th, 2017 are approved as circulated by a vote of 5-0-0. Warrants.
If you sign those top minutes off with those numbers.
Okay, these are what we just approved.
Yes.
April 17th.
You good?
So first I have payroll warrant number 21 in the amount of $18,376.67.
So moved.
Motion to approve from Tony.
Second.
Second by Art. Any discussion on the payroll warrant? All in favor of approval say aye. Aye.
Just lost my thing.
Payroll warrant number 21 in the amount of $18,376.67 is approved 5-0-0.
No, it's great.
It's a nice pen. It flows good.
And we have check warrant number 34 in the amount of $31,382.61.
So moved.
Motion to approve from Tony.
Second.
Second by Art. Major items on this one are $10,600 to People's United Bank.
That's for one of the houses.
It's a what?
For one of the houses we bought.
Oh, the
trailers
house
down
payments.
at,
Yep.
House payment.
Yes.
$2,700 to Sycamore Landscaping for cemetery mowing, and $6,300 to TAM for garbage services. $5,900 to William E. Daly, and those are the items over 1,000. Any other discussion on check warrant number 34? All in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
So check warrant number 34 in the amount of $31,382.61 is approved 5-0-0. Are there any announcements? No one else has any? I have a few announcements. I would like to again remind folks at home that there are a number of open positions in town government on, in particular, the Developmental Review Board, DRB, and the Planning Commission. In particular, the Planning Commission can use some help. They're involved in a few things related to economic development, and they're functioning as a 3-member board right now. They are a 5-member board, so they could use some new members. If you're interested in serving, just send a letter of intent to the town administrator, David Kiernan. You can find his email online or give him a call and let us know. Just say, I would like to be considered for service. The 2017 Ordinary Heroes Celebration will be May 20th from 2 to 4 at Galusha House. And a new announcement, Big Truck Night at Shaftsbury Elementary School is something they do every year. This year, the full Big Truck Night runs from 5:30 to 7:30. At 6:30, we are going to have a special moment to honor our fire department volunteers. So I would like everyone to come out and help us do that and recognize the service and sacrifice that those fellows make on a volunteer basis.
6:30.
6:30.
And what day was that?
That would be Friday, May 19th. The next Household Hazardous Waste Day for Bennington County is on May 20th, and it's at the Bennington Transfer Station on Houghton Road. So if you have household hazardous waste, paint, gasoline, that kind of thing that you need to get rid of, that's the day to do it. And again, we remind everyone that that occurs in a shared relationship through the county. The last one was up in Dorset. This one is closer, but that is part of the Hazardous Waste Alliance that we are now part of for the entire county.
And Shaftsbury doesn't have one at all anymore?
They are shared, so we don't have our own, no, but we're allowed to participate in the county-wide ones when they occur.
And they're going to have it every year in Bennington. It doesn't bounce around like Shaftsbury takes one year.
They happen twice a year, and it moves around. Like I say, the last one was in Dorset.
So there is a possibility that some year there might be one Shaftsbury.
Unlikely.
Yeah, I don't think it
And
would
the-
happen in
Yeah, the
Shaftsbury.
reason is that it has to be within a certain radius of different communities. That's why it moves north to Dorset to cover Rupert, and it stays in Bennington to cover Woodford and the bottom part of Pownell. It has to be within a certain radius. I forget the exact mileage of it, but we don't fall in the right area.
And one other announcement, we've been trying to get a member of our board onto the Bennington Rescue Squad board, and they recently had a vacancy occur. They called Tony and asked him to raise his hand, and Tony Krulikowski was appointed to serve on that board. So we now have a member on that board, and we will, again, soon be entering into discussions about the long-term funding for the Bennington Rescue Squad and how that's going to fit into our budget. Are there any public comments? Ed Corey.
I know this Green Up Day is going to be Saturday.
Yes.
I still think a good Green Up project is that trailer off North Road, the green trailer where you're pulling into the transfer station.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
And then that's one thing. The other thing is Quarry Drive over there. It has been discussed what half acre is going to be redone. Is that going to be done soon or?
It's not, I looked at it the other day. I agree, we need to do work on it. I don't have a date when it's going to be done. If we get the bid for the state to do Eastville, we might be able to put that in, piggyback that to get a discount on the price. Otherwise, we're going to look into it. I did look at it the other day. I was driving by, went back and looked again because I can see where it's rough towards the edge of the road and kind of breaking
Towards the
up.
end of the road, there's any blacktop.
Well, yeah, that's rough. No, I see what you mean. We are looking into
It's
it.
been 40 years,
Yeah,
you know.
it's,
The blacktop acre, we put that in,
yep,
you know, when the road wasn't done, you know, all the way to the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Even the blacktop, the other thing I would suggest, and I think the town could save money, is the whole street, it's been 25 years since that was blacktop.
mm-hmm.
I think if they're gonna take and put the effort in an apron, you could skim coat that right up through there.
Yeah, we probably won't have money to do that much work this year because it's not in the plan, but we,
All I
all
can
the,
say to you, in
Yeah.
my defense of skim coating it now, we put in a driveway probably 10 years ago. When we just had to, when we created lot line changes.
mhm,
And 10 years ago, it fell off real sharp towards that ditch.
Yeah.
And when he blacked the driveway, we skim coated that part of the road.
mhm.
And geez, it's held good.
Yeah, oh, they do.
And, you know, just a little skim coat up through there, you know, it's been 25 years,
How thick is the skim coat?
an inch.
An inch, okay.
And if you want to look at one that North Bennington did, they did all College Road, probably,
Mhm.
I would say 2 years ago maybe, all wear it from one end to the other. You know, that still looks good. And they were up against the same thing. It's, you know, you keep letting it go, and it's going to be a lot more costly.
I agree. Shimcoat's a normal part of maintenance, and we're trying to catch up with most of the paved roads.
And that street does hold quite well because there is a ditch on one side.
Yep.
And
But I agree, the apron looks rough.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It
well,
does look rough.
and as I say, the problem we've got now is the water that sheds off from Route 67 no longer sheds towards where the culvert is, and that's what's creating most of that washout right near the edges.
Well, I have it in mind, and we're going to see what we can do for it.
Yeah.
That's the best I can say for now, without knowing where the money's going to go July 1st.
And that's how Quarry Drive was done before, it was piggyback through when
Mm-hmm.
Parent Acres was done. And
Yeah.
our development was done.
Mm-hmm.
What Shaftsbury gets behind, because that same year they were supposed to do North Road, and North Road didn't get done, they were supposed to do that next year, and now it's 25 years later, and North Road still never got done.
Well, it won't be 25 more years. I'll promise you that.
Ed, you did remind me that I forgot to announce Green Up Day, which is this Saturday, and there will be members of our Recreation Committee here from 9 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon to hand out bags and literature about Green Up Day.
Mm-hmm.
And we remind people that there will be a dumpster here if you want to bring your green up bags here to get thrown away for trash that you pick up along the road. And any trash that you pick up along the road and put in the green up bags, the road crew will go around to the roads and pick that up after Saturday. And additionally, any tires or TVs that you dig out of the ditches and bring to the road, they'll pick up those too. So we urge everybody to get out and clean up your roads.
You said you won't take tires, or?
We will. Yeah, we're not. If people want to get them out of the ditches and bring them up to the edge of the road crew will pick them up.
Yeah, we are not collecting tires.
No.
Yeah.
We tires that are,
Tires out on the side.
a tire found abandoned on the side of the road.
You got 4 right up there on that North Road property.
Yeah, they're
So
being
how
taken
more
care
if
of.
I wanted to,
But
as a citizen,
yeah,
I
we're
would
not
take
collecting tires though. There's no more free tire day, as a matter of fact.
We're not going to pick them up if they.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, don't take your tires to the roadside. We're not picking them up.
Right.
This is debris we're picking up, not.
Right, yeah, the ones that are already out there, yeah.
it.
Don't,
So at the
Yeah.
North Road side up there,
Don't
where
add
there's 4
to it.
tires just laying there around the old green trailer, pick those up and move them to the ditch, and the town will take them away.
No,
And what time in the morning?
because that's exactly what I'm saying.
9 to
It's
1.
not going to happen. You're not bringing your tires from your property and putting them at the curb, because each tire costs the town $2.
No, but I'm saying the trailer, where the.
I know what you're saying. That's all taken care of. We've been saying that for weeks. It's being taken care of. I have the contracts here to sign tonight, and the whole place is going to be cleaned up.
How soon on that one?
2 weeks, got to wait 2 weeks for the state and the feds. That's just the way it is.
all right. Next up is the treasurer's report. I understand our treasurer is off playing the violin somewhere.
Yeah, our treasurer is not available this evening. The report is in the Dropbox. It went in late this afternoon. I won't make many comments on it because it's our report, but everything is pretty much the way it's been projected. Our expenditures are less than last year, and our revenues are higher than last year. So we're on a decent pace. I might be able to move some money in so that we can start doing some of the road repairs, because we've already expended our gravel budget, and we have some projects that would be better off starting sooner than later. So I'm trying to find some ways to generate some money out of the other parts of the budget so that we can start some of these projects early, and add a few possibly. But on the revenue and the expenditure side, we're in pretty good shape right now. We're running a little bit behind on expenditures from last year, even though the highway budget, as I've been saying, the overtime is much higher than last year. They were out a lot this winter. The salt budget's completely gone. The winter sand budget's completely gone, and the gravel budget's completely gone. So we can't take from certain areas the trees because we have a lot of tree work that needs to be done. We need to contract out a lot of that. There's a lot of trees that need to come down. But we're going to try and work out what we can have this budget to start some of the road things earlier. But for the most part,
How much do you need before July?
that's an open-ended. You know, it depends. We don't have to do a crazy amount, but I'm looking at $20,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 in material. So if I can do that, that would be nice. If I can't, then we'll take another method to try and fix some things. But these numbers, we just closed the month today, so I haven't had a chance to go through every facet of the budget yet. Have to be careful, we don't want to wind up behind, but I think there's some areas that with only 2 months to go, we could probably use some of that money to get some road work done.
I'm thinking that what happened to us in February is something like an emergency situation. We've got a lot of roads that got tore up really bad when we went from 1.5 feet of snow to 70-degree weather in February in a week. I don't know that, I think we ought to think about possibly deficit spending in order to get the really high priority projects done. And if it means, you know, starting early to get that done. I mean, we have a contingency fund. You know, 15% of the budget is contingency fund. Sometimes emergencies happen. This business that happened in February is bad. I hate to see that we're just going to walk away from some places that really got torn up and just not, and hope they don't get torn up again when we get another mud season, even a normal mud season next year.
I think all of it will get done. I know what you're saying, and I think that's pretty much where we are, because the reserve fund, which I forget the exact number, should be somewhere around 280,000. That's the 15%. It's running above that now, so there is flex in there. So it is money that's in the contingency fund, the reserve fund, the general fund, whatever you want to call it, that could be pulled out, and we'd still be well ahead of it. We have some balancing out. We've been lucky to balance out our well problems and everything else with out of this year's budget. So we're looking to start maybe some things in June, start them a little early. I know I keep kicking the wire for this microphone.
So the 215,000 is the 15% of the reserve fund?
Yeah, it's about 285,000 is what 15% of the total town budget by the voters is put in the reserve fund or maintained at that level.
Okay.
And we've gotten it back to that level, and because of savings from the last couple of years, it's gotten a little higher than that, which we've used to defray some taxes. So we need to keep it at a certain level for a real emergency. I mean, we could have, this mud season, believe it or not, could have been worse, and we could have really need to spend some money. As it is, we've wiped out most of the highway budget. So we couldn't have the potential to go into that. But we do have a lot of things going on, and it would be nice to start on some of the tougher areas to get them going, possibly a little sooner.
I would say I give them permission to go ahead and do it. We'll find the money.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing to think about is the long-term cost. I mean, if we don't fix these roads, every time we get mud season, we're going to dump $60,000 worth of gravel on them.
And scoop it up.
And then scoop it up again.
It's just an expensive Band-Aid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So the permanent cure.
If you have a legitimate, everything is set up, you have a legitimate project that can go ahead, got all the materials and everything.
Yeah, we can do it.
We'll find the money.
Okay. All right, then we'll plan on doing a few, get a kickstart to it.
Please.
And that way we can add a couple
But make sure that the grading is up to par before you pull them off the grading, okay?
Yeah.
And this is for a more permanent.
This is for the permanent fixes.
For the fix, yeah.
I'm talking about
Like we would like to do a few, but we're, until July 1st, we have no funding.
Ken will describe what you're going to do. You're going to dig in, put fabric down.
Well, I think, especially on the East Road over there, that was a case that I believe that from everything I've heard, the fabric was put in right, and that job was done right. But when it thawed out, and then them guys got in there with the trucks, that's what destroyed that. That was something hopefully we'll never see again.
It was essentially an act of vandalism on the roads. They got up there in their mud trucks and tore up the fabric.
Right. So once you get that started, it just won't stand it. It eats it right up.
Well, they were not intentionally tearing it up, but they were intentionally having fun on a muddy road.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
Not realizing what was under.
destroyed it, yeah.
So Ken, what is it, 18 inches goes on top of the fabric?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's only one spot that I saw that I don't know if it was substandard fabric or what it was, over in Shaftsbury Hollow. And I hope we never see that again, but that was, I think, material. That they didn't put enough gravel in it, number one, and like I say, that fabric was like none I'd ever seen before.
And what kind of time are you looking at before the structural integrity of the mesh diminishes?
I don't think so.
How long will the mesh last?
Yeah, that,
Well, if you put it in right and the sun doesn't get to it, as far as I know, it's an unlimited life.
okay.
Because it doesn't like ultraviolet light.
So keep it buried.
Keep it buried. And, you know, like I say, you've got to put enough material in it to cover it. And obviously that wasn't over there.
18 inches is the minimum though, that's the standard?
12 to 18.
12 to 18.
And on East and Meyer, which would be good to spend a little extra money because we could do longer stretches of Meyer Road than what we have now. We have to put in probably 6 inches as a base before we put the fabric down, because we have those big stones they used. We have to cover them, or we're going to have them pushing up from the fabric underneath and cutting it. So put a new base, a smaller base on, maybe 6 inches, lay the fabric on that, then the 18 inches for the top coat on it. So it'll be even a little deeper, which actually works out too, because you start to create some ditches, which is also a necessary
Good
part of the
drainage.
road. Yeah, yeah.
Were they going to put any French drains in there at Myers Road?
We have a list of French drains, which I did not bring tonight. I know there's going to be some on Daniels, there's going to be some on Myers, and I think possibly in that section of East Road. I don't remember though. I'd have to look to make sure about that one. But yeah, we have talked about a number of those for this year because they're quick, easy fixes, or part of the overall solution to some of these problems. And it would be nice to really do the job where these roads really broke up this year, exceptionally broke up. And it's East and Myers Road. That's where it got tremendously bad in Daniels over here.
You might just consider it, Dave, but rather than putting down 6 inches of gravel on those areas that had the large stone in it, if you go over there and grade those and then get a large vibratory roller, you may not need to put the other gravel down because you'll pound the rocks right down.
Yeah, that's a possibility too.
And you might save some money that way. Because then you can put the additional gravel on top.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a look at that too. Because we would get a vibratory roller anyway,
Yeah.
just so that the new stuff is packed down properly.
Right. I mean, if you put the fabric on the stone and it's loose,
Yeah, yeah,
then it could puncture.
yeah,
And then, of course, you lose the integrity of it.
yeah.
But if you put that vibratory roller on there, it ain't gonna be there.
Yeah, because where they have graded it, it's not really getting rid of the big stone. In fact, they scraped a lot off today from Myers, and we have a few other places that they have to go do that. I think next year, should this occur, we'll try not to have such big stone. But there were issues with even getting stone this year, so in some cases, you had to take what you could get.
Well, yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, how long does it take to get these roads fixed?
Well, you can do maybe 1,200 feet in 3 days, 4 days. You know, it depends, and everything depends on the weather,
Yep.
because you can't do a lot of this in bad weather. But we have a number of projects plotted out. It's a very active summer season coming up, so we have a number of projects already in. We were going to cut back, because we don't have the money, so if we're going to spend a little extra money, I can start adding in the sections that we were going to cut back on this year. Because there's a few sections of Myers Road that really need to be done.
There was a gentleman in here from Shaftsbury Hollow. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there's a section of that on it,
Is it?
and that's the part Ken was alluding to, where the fabric, it was coming up through the road, and it was kind of odd looking fabric, but Again, it's hard to explain why that happened, but that section, I think that was like a 1,500-foot section we were gonna do, and we placed that. And there's other grants we're waiting on, several grants for Shaftsbury Hollow Road we're waiting on. Some that are gonna fix this problem by the bridge, which is all the approaches to the bridge, which will be repaired and replaced when the bridge is replaced.
When do you expect the grants to?
Oh, we usually hear in the next few weeks if we get the grants.
Okay.
And we've done very well in grants the last few years, and it's kind of on a rotation. You're not guaranteed every year, but we could get the East Road grant, which I think we have a good chance on because that'll be the final link from all the way down in Bennington to Reservoir Road. The grant for the culvert, well, we'll see. We'll see. You know, because that gets prioritized by who's in the worst shape. And we have time on ours, but you just keep putting the paperwork in and hope for the best.
Dave,
Yeah.
when you do these repair jobs, the upgrade jobs, and you're gonna put the 18 inches gravel on there, do they put the water truck out with that, with the vibratory roller to compact it?
You mean the chloride truck?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but just with water.
No.
It would improve your compaction. Or not?
I'll have to check with, I'll have to check with them, I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe I
I
should
mean,
just
you
blanket
know,
say
once you
no.
get it all done,
Yeah.
and then you can put down your chloride for dust control.
Yeah,
But when you're doing it, that'll compact a hell of a lot better
okay.
if you put water in that.
While you're laying out this.
Yeah, and once you get
Yeah.
it all spread down, put a good coat of water on there,
Hmm.
and then put your vibratory roller on it. It'll make it a lot harder.
Okay.
All right. Well, our treasurer's report seems to have rolled right into the road foreman
into the
report,
road
who's not
foreman's report.
here either. We covered a lot of road stuff. Was there anything else on the treasury report we needed to know?
No, it kind of speaks for itself. Everything's in the right position, and like I said, we're ahead in revenues and behind in expenses, so.
But yeah, we have consensus here that
Yes.
we need
Yeah.
we need to make these major repairs so we don't
Yeah,
just, like you say, put an expensive Band-Aid on it every mud
year.
season. Yeah.
okay,
All right, good.
we can plan for that.
So
That's it for highways too, I guess.
highways too, good. Okay. All right. Item 9 is Mert Snow on tax sales. Mert, welcome.
Where's the hot seat?
Right there.
Over there now.
Well, as you may know, to run tax sales, I have to have the permission of the select board, because sometimes it entails a little money. What I've done, I'll pass these out. The names of the people that probably will go to tax sale unless they do something very shortly. And I have a number in front of each name. I prefer we don't discuss names tonight, because they may not go to tax sale. But this way, if you have questions on something, number whatever, there's about, it's not really as much. I've had times when I've sent more to the tax collector. What he does is, he will issue a notice giving them 30 days before tax sale would start. And a lot of people do react from that. But these are all people that I started notifying first of the year. And I probably have notified them on 3 different statements that they're a good candidate because they haven't made any agreement with me. No communications. Maybe they may have set up a tax agreement, but they never kept it. So it's been, there's 54,000. somehow, when going to page 2, that total is only the total of page 2. But anyway, I know it's 54,000 that is on this sheet, and another $5,000 in interest that the town would recoup. So we're talking a little over $60,000.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody's listed twice,
There's 2 years.
2
2
years.
years, I'm looking at 15 and 16. Looks like they just didn't pay.
Then there's one number, 26, and go around the next page. Left the area, 3 years, left the area, went to Florida and filed bankruptcy. He came out of the bankruptcy court, and I talked to Kevin O'Toole about it, he said we could proceed with that. But right now, he has that, he started to work on that one. And it's been in foreclosure, and every time it comes up, they postpone it. I've talked to the bank, and it just,
Yeah.
nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of times the bank, they'll wait last moment,
Oh, sure.
but they will, they don't want to lose the property. They're holding on. They'll pay the taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But up until that time, there's only one bank in the area that contacts me a lot. They want to know how people are doing. None of the other banks seem to, well, they probably care, but they don't contact me.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, there's $96,000 out right now. Last year was $104,000, and that's usual. No, but I have sometimes had tax sales later in the year, and to me, that's getting to not make sense because you sell a property in October, and in November, another year comes up.
We can always-
Since it's in that 1 year of wait and see, then you don't get paid for that year. And then if the person does settle up, there's still a year out, So I thought we should start early.
Mm-hmm.
So do you get much, go ahead.
No, I was going to make a motion that we approve him to spend some money. I think that's what he's asking.
Well, it's not that,
Well,
we may not spend any money,
okay,
but if these, you probably know where a lot of these places are. They're all places that I don't think there would be a problem. Sometimes we've run into problem situations where, like up on the North Road, no one's going to bid on that, so the town had to. But I don't see where there is a problem here, but in case we have to spend a little money,
mhm.
that's why I need approval. I can't just arbitrarily take it and go to tax sale
Mm-hmm.
unless you're involved.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Art to authorize Mert Snow, the delinquent tax collector, to proceed with tax sales on the list he has presented of 32 properties, or 32
Well,
32 delinquent bills in total.
Yep.
Yes. And that is seconded by Tony. Just a quick question. We have, as you know, recently started with our more egregious water bill delinquent customers seeking tax sale on those. Are any of those names on here? Do any of those include water bills, or are these all just delinquent taxes?
Number 25 includes water. I don't.
No, there's only two. The other one is up to date with you.
You've had some settlements.
Yeah, you've had some settlements. The other one is up to date with you. Number 25 is, I think this is probably just your number here, because ours is
That's
much
my
higher.
number.
Yeah, ours is much higher.
Yeah, it's 1,800, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
But, so we did try to combine our effort this year. There were probably 4 or 5 that we combined and we sent up to them. So we did send out a notice on those.
Mm-hmm.
And number 26, I included because it was 3 years and didn't look very hopeful that I was going to be able to collect it. So I didn't wait on that one. But it hasn't gone to tax sale, that's why I'm making sure I get your authorization before that comes up. It will come out soon.
Do you get a lot of action once you announce a tax sale from these people?
Well, it doesn't hurt to see a tax sale in the paper. I've
Yeah.
noticed that. I mean, you see, I think lots of times they just, you know, he's just bluffing,
Yeah.
but I'm not. And if you notify someone 3 times, and these are 6 months old, 2016 is now 6 months old, and the longer a bill, you know,
Right.
older it gets, the harder it is to collect.
Right. All right, any more discussion?
No.
All in favor of approving Mertz Snow to proceed with tax sales on these, this presented list of 32 delinquent bills, say aye. Aye. That motion is approved, 500.
Do you want these back?
No, you can- I just didn't want to be discussing,
Right, yeah, good.
because I might, 2 weeks from now, I might have half a dozen of these.
That'd be great. That'd be good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry I was late. Well, I guess I wasn't.
No, you were
Oh,
right
you're
on time.
You
Perfect.
walked in right at the right time.
All right.
But Jerry Madison is late.
Yeah, I don't know why Jerry isn't here. Jerry was coming for the LEOP plan, the local emergency operations plan. It's due every May 1st. He was going to bring it in to have it signed by the board tonight. I did not hear back from Jerry. Jerry has to be here. I put him on the agenda. I don't know. Something might have come up in his business and he just couldn't make it, so I'm sure we'll have it for the next meeting.
Okay. All right, proposed new town garage and transfer station demolition contract with TAM.
Okay. I put these in the Dropbox, the Catamount only this morning because that's when I got it. There's 2 parts to the demolition and the cleanup of the properties. One is a demolition contract with TAM for approximately $9,800, $9,500, I'm sorry. And the other one is Catamount Environmental. Both of the buildings that we bought over on North Road have asbestos in the roof, in the walls, and in parts of the floor, and they all have to be remediated. On signing the contract with Catamount, which will be $9,800, and one of the reasons why we have these 2 figures and have them together is because Catamount and TAM are working on a number of projects, and we're piggybacking on them all to reduce the overall cost of the town, so that they can move equipment from one place to another. So we're just getting in part of it. Catamount, according to the rules, as soon as we sign this, they have to send notice to the state and they have to send notice to the EPA because they're removing hazardous materials from the house. That requires 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks. That's what it takes. Catamount is, I'm familiar with Catamount. Catamount inspected this place for me. They do lots of work with TAM and everywhere around here. They're a local company out of Wilmington. And TAM is across the street from this. They have the equipment and can basically, once the asbestos is removed, they can pretty much clean up the whole thing in a few minutes. So, in a few days.
Is the asbestos removed beforehand, or is it packaged all together and it's all taken as one unit?
Yeah, this is the thing. There'll be one container that's completely lined. They will take off the parts of the roof and the thing and put it in this container. It'll be taped up, and then they can move it, I believe. And this is part of reducing the cost because they can move it to the next job site. And then TAM will come in and then just be able to grab everything. The big thing is, unlike just scooping it up with the bucket, if you use the claw and the right equipment, you don't pick up a lot of ground material because we pay by the pound. And if you're scooping up a lot of dirt, you're paying a lot more money. So once this, I know that it's been a little bit delayed, but once the EPA and the state approve it, it'll be done rapidly. So with the board's permission, the approval, it's 95 for the demolition contract and 98 for the environmental contract. And I'll point out that both of those are below the cost estimates that we started with.
You want 2 separate motions, Tim, or?
Yeah, let's do them separately because they're both, well, Catamount works for TAM, you said.
No, Catamount is an independent contractor.
Oh, okay.
We're
So
ju-
they're
They just
contracted
have,
by town.
no, we're contracting Catamount.
Okay.
I already paid them for the analysis,
Okay.
but they're a separate contract, yes.
All right, let's do them one at a time. Is there a motion to approve spending, where'd the number go?
Yes.
Which one are we on?
Catamount?
9,800 for Catamount.
Yeah, $9,800 to Catamount Environmental for asbestos removal of the buildings that are going to be demolished at the landfill.
So,
So moved by Ken,
Second.
seconded by Tony. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The motion to approve spending $9,800 to Catamount Environmental for asbestos removal on buildings to be demolished at the landfill is approved 500.
Tim, I'd just like to point out that this contract right here represents why, when we had complaints about not cleaning that up there, that we couldn't and shouldn't have done it.
Right.
Because that would have left us and anybody we sent in there liable
Yeah.
with
And-
this hazardous stuff.
Yeah, and exposed to asbestos, the people who did the
Right,
cleanup, yeah.
right. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah. And the other one we need is a motion to spend $9,500 to TAM for demolition of the buildings that are at the landfill.
Correct. The houses and only the property of the two houses, not
This is
transfer
not-
station or the landfill or anything.
Not the old garages yet?
No, no,
Okay.
this is just the two houses and their property.
Okay, so the motion is to spend $9,500 to TAM for demolition of the two houses on North Road.
Can I ask a question real quick?
If I can get a second and a
Okay.
motion.
Second.
Motion from,
Motion from Art.
Well, I will.
all right, seconded by Tony, discussion.
Okay, the discussion would be, is there any way that we could do a controlled burn and have the fire department
No,
for like a practice for them at the same
Yeah,
time?
we looked at that.
Yeah.
we were looking forward to it, but they can't do it.
I was gonna say, it'd save us a lot of money.
Yeah, well, we still have to clean it up anyway, but they can't do it.
It'd be a
I am
cost.
gonna let them do their last bit of training, but, if they're interested, but, yeah.
Okay.
They are doing like smoke run-throughs out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and now would be the opportunity to say, Joe, go practice your tools and cut holes in the sides and hack apart whatever you want,
Be an
because they're gonna be there in
excellent
2 weeks.
exercise,
Yeah, you got the property, and they can do it in the areas that aren't exposed to this stuff, so, yeah, they can do what they need to do, get some training.
I
They
didn't
were-
read, I didn't read the contract, but how is the ground left? Is gravel brought in and it's
No.
brought up to level or not?
Boom, 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 boom. Labor trucking disposal and machinery to remove two mobile homes, garage, concrete slabs, and outbuildings from the property. Customer, TAM will not provide any topsoil or landscaping services as part of the scope of this work.
He will not.
Will not, no.
Okay.
But,
So was a truckload of gravel filling the cellar hole considered topsoil? I don't think so.
no, and I think when these are removed, it's pretty much gonna be level.
Okay,
And we will just be able, once this stuff is off the ground, because we were gonna try to do something, but we were so concerned about popping tires on our tractors at great expense,
Yeah.
that once the building's removed, the slabs are removed, because TAM's gonna take everything, and then we can just level it out real quick. And in a few months, it's all gonna be dug up again.
but my point is, I think we should at least leave it with
Yeah,
clear.
we
okay?
want smooth, clear, and we can seed part of it, because where the stakes are, we can see where the building will actually be. So we might as well start growing stuff
Okay,
in the other part.
Yep.
Yeah,
So are the water connects just gonna be disconnected and buried, or?
they're all done already.
Okay, they are.
Yeah, one didn't have water.
Okay.
It got water from across the street through a hose. And the other one, we closed that, we disconnected the well and took the pump out of it months and months ago.
Okay.
So we will seal that when the time comes.
Any more discussion?
No.
All in favor of contracting with TAM for $9,500 for demolition of the two houses on North Road, say aye.
Aye.
And that motion is approved 500. demolition asbestos, RFP for architectural engineering and construction administration. So this is an RFP requesting architectural and engineering firm to help us produce the bid package for the garage building.
Correct, and this is basically part of what would have been phase 2 or 3, I forget now, the Morton contract. But this is to take their extensive documents they made, but turn it into a bid package that we can take out to people. There will be certain engineering and architectural things that need to go into this package. The package has to meet certain standards to go out for a public entity to bid. That's what we'll get out of this, and we will get construction administration help. After they design the bid package, after they prepare that and put that out, they will be there to assist us in evaluating the bids when they come in, and then they will be available to administer the project for the town as it moves forward. And it's 3 vital functions that the town needs outside professionals to be doing. And this will just start going. And this has a design build feature in it because it's not going to be handing a contractor it must be exactly this. There will be some options that the contractor could add in to make it more competitive, shall we say. And it'll be an opportunity for many people to bid on this building, which will be very, helpful to the town. The more bidders, the better off we'll be.
Need a motion to give him permission or approval to send it out?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
So move.
Motion from Art to approve the RFP for architectural services for the garage building. Seconded by Ken. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So that vote is approved 5-0-0.
Okay, now I'll put us in the time frame for what we had discussed earlier. So it'll take a while to get this together, and then we'll have it out to bid by the end of the summer. And being a government and our constraints by law, it'll probably be the end of October, maybe even the beginning of November before it's awarded, but that's not a problem either. We are going to target November of 18 as the completion date. We discussed that.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking, let's include this RFP in the minutes of this meeting. We made the approval of this document here, and this will make a good historical record of how we went through this. So we'll have, be able to go back to meeting minutes and track the progress of the garage building.
Okay, make sure that gets in there.
All right, Dave, you got anything else on the garage?
No, I think that's getting everything moving, and things will start coming back. The site plan is being worked on, the final site plan is being worked on, and this will get the next big step, which is getting those houses knocked down and the place cleaned up.
Good, good. Okay, Jerry Madison, Emergency Management Coordinator, is here. Just a minute or two late, not to worry.
Sorry.
Not a problem.
Meeting day. All over the place. Have you guys seen this from the last couple of years?
That was circulated to us, was it not, a few months back?
Yeah, that last year we had the
So, have you seen it?
Joe has probably not seen it.
Seen it. It renews May 1st every year. Sign off on it. It's our LEOP, our local emergency operations plan. Nothing's changed as far as chair of the select board, fire chief, my position, that type of thing. They add a few attachments each year to it, as far as identifying like our at-risk population, the daycare center, Shaftsbury Medical Center, water treatment plant, things like that, critical infrastructure, that's in there. Just for those who maybe weren't in a role for Irene, that type of thing, that's our go-to. I'm not here, I get back to where I truck leaving here or whatever. That plan's here on file, I have it, the fire chief has it, and also the barracks have it, state police barracks. Go to that plan, follow the steps, it's kind of all laid right out to checklist, go down, start at point A, go right straight down the list, check it off. Contact numbers are all on there. Our shelter information's on there, our shelter capacity, our shelter contact people, Red Cross, that type of thing, key holders, that's all in there. The only thing I didn't attach this year, because it's attached every year and it's electronically attached, is our map of the town, which that's not on there. Other than that, you've gone through the training. They add kind of a proverbial carrot, the state does, to chase all the time. They're adding something. They've added that the select board chair has to have 402 and ICS 100 now to sign off on it. And you're compliant with that now too. So each year they add one more thing. It keeps everybody interested, everybody focusing, everybody trained, everybody kind of going down the right road. So yeah, that's why I'm here. If you got questions on it or anything, by all means, give me a shout. I'll do what I can.
You need anything from us? A motion or anything?
Yeah,
That has to be signed off on, and it probably would be good to have a motion, just, you know, historically, so you can look back and.
Joe, we can get you a copy of that.
Okay.
Yeah, that way you got it.
Actually, Jerry, if you send me an electronic copy of that, I'll send it to
Okay.
everybody. We can have a copy.
That way you got it and kind of familiar.
Yeah.
That way you never know who, you know, it's kind of a chain of a command in there, but like with any type of government or agency, you never know who's on vacation, you never know when something's going to happen, so it'd be good if everybody's familiar with it and just knows. Because if Tim's not here, it's going to fall down the line to somebody.
Yep, I could drown in the flood just as easy as you could.
As I could, exactly. So, yeah, it's good that everybody kind of knows how it works. And I'll throw out the usual training spiel that you can do your NIM 700 and your ICS 100 online now. If you go to FEMA.gov and go under ICS, and it takes about an hour. Do it online. It checks it off the list. That's the other thing is I'm kind of tasked with, in my position, is keeping everybody trained to a certain standard. By having that training, adopting NIMS, doing this every year, it keeps the door open for grant funding. It also keeps the door open for FEMA. I mean, we're
Keeps you in the loop.
yeah, and it's the state won't allow certain things or open the doors to grants for us if we're not trained to a certain level. You know, at one point I had everybody almost at 200 level, and the road crew was all at 100 level. They understand that faces change, people, you know, change, that type
What's
of
the
thing.
acceptable level?
They like to see 100% compliance,
Okay.
but they also realize that the select board changes, that road crews change, that, you know, things change. So
Rotate out.
you're striving for that, but, you know, that's why I just throw it out to new members, that if you can go on and do that, it keeps our levels up. It gives you a good understanding of how it works, the terminology, the ICS structure, how it's broken apart, the administrative side, and the finance and operations and all that stuff. So it gives you a good understanding. It's not difficult. I mean, it's a little test at the end. It's pretty all self-explanatory. Take it. It keeps our training numbers up. That way, when I report to the state that we're, you know, 95% or something like that, it does help us. We've applied for HSU grants before, Homeland Security grants for our radios, communications, and stuff like that. We got those grants. Generator grants, that type of thing for our shelters. We got those because of our training level and our compliance with that stuff. So it puts us higher up the list versus a town that, you know, they have one person in town that's trained.
So if I go to FEMA.gov and I go to ICS, you said?
Yep,
Okay.
ICS, that'll pull up a whole list of things, and the 700 and the 100 are the two beginner. And it goes all the way up through to 400, 500, 600. But those, they want some, most everybody to have a basic understanding. They're not expecting you to run, you know, a statewide program or something like that. So If we get to the 200 level with anybody, that's more than enough.
Just to get a general understanding.
General understanding, in the 200 level, you start doing a tabletop exercise, you run through a scenario, that type of thing. So if you can get to the 200 level, the drawback is before they started doing these online, it was a 4-hour Sunday afternoon class you had to sit through. Now they opened up some online. Yeah, you get to the 200, it's 3 days, and it's 3 6-hour days, so it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A lot of people just don't have that time, and they understand that. But if we can get somewhere close to that, or at least get everybody through the 100 level, would be great. The town clerk, I've spoken with her, that changes, Judy was up to the 100 level, the road crew was up through what they needed to be, but we hire new people, some people leave, so it's a constant.
But a 100 level is what you're looking for,
Yeah,
that's a target.
if you could, that'd be great. I mean, that'd be perfect, to try and keep everybody right there and keep our numbers up.
I made myself a note to send you the link to this training. So I'll send it to the entire board.
Okay, thank you.
It'd be awesome, take me. Excellent, thank you.
Good. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the local emergency operations plan as presented by Jerry Madison, emergency management coordinator?
So moved.
Tony?
Second.
Seconded by Art. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The LEOP is approved by a vote of 5-0-0.
Dave, can you get an electronic copy of that to Allison at
Yeah.
DCRC?
Yeah, if you send me a copy in, I'll just scan this and
Or I
send
can
it up
send
to
it,
her.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'll
can
scan
send
this and send it up to her.
Okay.
Actually, I'll scan this and send it to the whole board, so you don't have to bother with it too. That way they can
That's
see
our
it.
point of contact at BCRC, so we all know is Allison. She forwards this, she does all the layouts for our district. She forwards them all to the state, so that's the process. It goes to her once it's signed, and it goes up to the state once it's on file.
Okay, good.
Relatively painless.
Cool. Excellent.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
seeing you.
Good seeing you.
All right, Dave, you were going to bring our attention to new bicycle and pedestrian grant opportunities that are out there.
Yes, I just figured I'd bring this up. The new grants are out. They come out every year, but maybe it's time to start the discussion of where is the sidewalk going, and are we crossing the road? The sidewalk ends.
Why did the sidewalk
Yeah,
cross the road? Yeah.
or why didn't the sidewalk cross the road? The sidewalk ends on the south side. I just think we should put this out here just because the scoping study alone for this will be a process that will take nearly 2 years. So it's not anything that's going to be done, but maybe the conversation should start whether people are interested in this, in finishing this corner here at Buck Hill and 7A, going north past the country store, going north on the west side of the road too. We could create the bus stop. The bus stop's there now. We could create a bus stop. We could curb out this corner so that there's a better sight line and push the parking up towards the country store. How the country store, or that building, because it's not a country store anymore, is addressed is something that a community-wide, because there has to be community hearings on this too. So, I'm just wondering if now isn't the time. I mean, this is wrapped up for all intents and purposes right now. Maybe it's the time to start the discussion, where is it going? And I'm also looking at, the future and our view of what's going to transpire here. The garage will be gone in 2 years. Do we want to extend the sidewalk up to link to the town hall, to the Veterans Park out front, which I would like to see expanded when the garage is gone? There's just a few things we could look at out there. Can we make a bike path connect somewhere? And I think if we got a citizens group together and started thinking about this, our cost for a scoping study is 50%. Just for the scoping study, if we actually went to construction, we'd be back to the 20% again. But right now it would be 50%. Scoping study can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000, depending on the scale. We're not talking a huge project, so it really wouldn't be that much money. But if we started today, we might, if the idea was to do any of this work, it probably wouldn't be done for 4 years. So maybe we just start the discussion, and if it gets traction, we're underway, rather than a few years from now going, we wish we had finished the corner or something. And I'm interested in what people think about finishing the corner. I mean, do we take away the parking over here and on the other side? Do we turn it into a bus stop? How do we address things like that? Do we extend it up here so people could actually get to Town Hall? Do we want a better curb and sidewalk in front of Town Hall here as we, move away from the heavy trucks and everything else to change the appearance of the Veterans Park out front? So there are a lot of things on the table. It's just, I can start the ball rolling if the board wants to start looking into it. It's, at this juncture, it's cost-free. It may be, after there's a meeting that has to be attended in a couple of weeks, an online thing. And we'll see where the direction is. But if the board's interested, I'd like to start just looking into it and talking to a few people and maybe seeing if we can have like the old sidewalk committee type of thing back together and see what people are interested in. Like I said, these projects, as we've just witnessed, take a long time from start to finish. So, we finished the one big part, so maybe we start looking at finishing the whole thing off. It would be nice if this continued so you could actually walk down to the bridge instead of being on the road. If we could, it would help address the corner, the safety, everything. So, just something I figured. Paperwork's out now, so we'll just start the discussion.
Are we gonna be into the same thing we were with that other one, Dave, by the garage?
Oh, yeah, because it's state, and I know that you're not a fan of that, but it was still costing us 10 cents on the dollar. So it's...
Yeah, but how many hours did you have in that?
They paid for that too.
Yeah, okay, but still.
Oh, they did. So,
$3,000 a lineal foot, I don't give a damn where the money comes from.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, that's that one, and this would be a new one, and we'd see where this goes. And of course, anything that came up the side street, or maybe there's some other place I'm not even thinking of, which would be interesting if people had some sidewalk ideas. I mean, this can be, Buck Hill would not be that kind of funding. Buck Hill would be state funded. And whether or not this turned into federal money, not everything is federal money, but 20 cents on the dollar for construction work is pretty good to the town. To finish this project, I was getting 10 cents on the dollar. So that's, other people picked up 90 cents of every dollar we spent here. So it may have its issues, like agreed, but.
So you're talking about the bus stop being on the country store side?
Well, actually, the bus stop's on the country store side, and the bus stop's going southbound on the other side.
Yeah.
And there's people standing there, and you could actually have a curb. You could have cut-ins there, like you'll see in other towns, where people can park, and but there'd be walking areas, there'd be safety areas. It'd create a true corner here, so that should you get commercial development in here, you wouldn't have people parking right up on the corner of this intersection like goes on now. It's just things that you start thinking about before you get somebody who comes and goes, I'd really like to build something here, and it's almost finishing this, because we only did half the intersection. It'd be nice to finish the whole intersection. And it's just like I said, scoping alone can take us 2 years, and then we can see where we are from there. And if the government still has money out to...
Would that hurt the value, do you think, of the sale of the building if somebody wanted to sell that property, having a bus stop outside?
That's a point of view. My point of view would be it would enhance it, but that's a realtor and other thing. And that's the kind of thing that in a scoping study...
If the owner takes the bus.
That's the kind of thing that in a scoping study, that's what you want to bring people in, the owners of these properties. What do you think? If it turns into absolutely not, close the book and you go home. But you don't know until you throw this out here.
Yeah, I'm just solely talking about the people who own the country store itself. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I know, and that's part of the question. But the question only gets resolved by putting it out there.
Right.
The town's talking about it. The town's inviting comments. You have to have public hearings for a scoping study. Find out. Maybe you find out that, boy, this is a bad idea, and you say, fine. If the people don't want it, we don't do it. But maybe you don't really know until you say, hey, we're thinking about this, there's money on the table, is it something we do?
If you put a sidewalk, are you talking about putting a sidewalk in front of the country store?
I don't know. I'm saying we have a scoping study to see what people are interested in happening. Maybe they're not interested in anything, and with this grant we can just say goodbye to.
Well, it would be hard to get cars in and out in front
Well,
of the
don't forget,
store.
right now, we don't have a country store.
Right,
Well,
right.
no, but I'm saying, if you put a sidewalk there, then you're never gonna have a
There's no
store
parking.
there again.
Oh, I agree, and I'm not saying, we're walling off the town, but it's just here, we have an opportunity, there's money for a scoping study. Do we see what traction there is to do anything? Maybe there isn't any.
I like the idea of bringing the sidewalk down to the
Yeah,
Cole Hall. That's,
I mean, maybe there's middle ground, I don't know.
The Economic Development Committee had somebody from the state come down and talk about a streetscape.
Hmm.
This place was full of people that were interested.
Yeah,
We just didn't know how to go any further because you were still working on that sidewalk.
yeah,
There is interest, so I make the motion that you go ahead
okay.
and consider it. This room was full with that meeting.
And
We have a motion to authorize Dave to apply for a bicycle pedestrian grant to do a scoping study for sidewalks at 7A and Buck Hill. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dave, do you have an idea of how big a scoping study we would need in
No.
terms of dollars?
No, I just want to get this rolling, and let's see. It would be funded with it's a reimbursement grant, so we could talk about the funding in fiscal 19's budget. That wouldn't be a problem, because by the time this paperwork is submitted, we're into fiscal 18, by the time it really gets going. That's why I said, it's 2 years from thinking about it to really getting it done, because even if we start now, by the time I go to the thing that we have to do in a couple of weeks after that, then you have to start the paperwork, and then you have to have public hearings. What Art just said is great, because that can dovetail into that, and maybe another type of grant, and, we can start looking at things.
We have to have public hearings for
To
the
do a
grant?
scoping study, yeah.
To do the scoping study
Yeah,
for the grant?
yeah, for the grant. Before we can even get the grant, they need to see where the public stands on it.
so you need a petition?
No, just, have hearings and, or public meetings, just like the other grant, and you just see what people feel, and what the state wants to know, and what the V-Trans, everybody, they want to know how people feel. If there's no support for this, I mean, in Sunderland, there was a bike path up Sunderland Hill. And it had hearings, people wanted, and that's what they want. They want to know that the community supports it. They want to know that there's an interest in the project before they start saying. Because once the scoping study's done, you're really taking the step. There's kind of the presumption that unless it comes out really bad, that the town's committed to really doing something. So there's a lot of aspects to it in that, you can look at bicycle lanes, shoulders, sidewalks, pedestrian crossing improvements, and you're defining the purpose of the project, potential impacts on the environment, initial review of potential right-of-way needs, property owners' rights and what they want, estimating the project costs. I mean, this is all the stuff that goes into the first phase. Again, I don't think it would be a lot of money, because we're not talking about a lot. We're not talking about, a mile of sidewalk here. We're talking about a couple of corners and maybe up to here, and any other good idea someone comes in with. So
When is the grant deadline for the scoping study?
for submission of this,
When do you have to have the
July 14th.
July
So
14th?
this is,
Do we want to maybe get an idea of how big a study we're looking at before we sign off on this, or?
well, nothing's going to be done until, I'll have a better idea after the first meeting, and then, I mean, we're not committed to anything for a while yet.
So nothing's in stone, it's just...
No, this is just exploratory. That's what I'm really looking for permission to do, and to start
So let it
talking
come
to
back
people
with
and
it.
So
find out.
how about the motion be allow David to prepare a grant application for the scoping
I thought
study?
that's what
Yeah.
I meant if I didn't say it.
Yeah, and then.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then-
we don't want to submit an application.
No.
We can't. After we have the public hearings and everything, we'll see what people think about it.
Well, we don't need public hearings to to apply for the grant for the scoping study. I'm just,
I believe
you're
that's
saying it's a
part of it.
50% grant, so it'd be nice to know if we're talking about $1,000 or $5,000 that our share of that grant is
Yeah.
for the scoping
Yeah.
study. So prepare the grant application. I bet by then from the webinar or whatever it is that you
Yeah.
set in on, you'll have an idea of how
Yeah.
big our contribution will be.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it'll be much, but we'll I just wanted to get it moving, and with the board's approval before I start going to see people about getting something together.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion is approved 500. That motion was to prepare a grant application for bicycle and pedestrian grant scoping study of sidewalks on 7A in Buck Hill.
And that's an aside to that. As you leave this evening, notice our lights, which have had the deflectors put on them.
Okay.
Whether or not they're doing anything, I did speak to a gentleman who lives next door, and he did notice the difference. However, it still is bright where they are, I assume. I'm going to have a look tonight. I haven't seen them at nights. These were put in last Friday, I believe, or Thursday.
Okay.
I was talking to Eric at KAS today. They have gone back to the manufacturer. What they're proposing is you can put a dimmer on these. You put the dimmer on the pole, and that they would put a dimmer on so that they can just reduce the output of these and bring it down to a reasonable level. And we can adjust the level and then just lock it in. And that'd be far cheaper than what they were originally being told by the manufacturer, that you'd have to replace the entire head. This would just be a simple wiring fix, and you could just basically a dimmer switch, just turn them down.
And that doesn't void the warranty or
Nope.
factory?
No, this is from the manufacturer.
From the manufacturer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go look at it, but that's what we want. I think.
Yeah, I think that is what we want. We want to be able to tone these
We
things
don't want to be
down.
blinded by those
Yeah.
lights still. I mean, it sounds like what you've got is a hood on it that points.
Pretty much, it's little deflectors. I tried looking at it from the street. You can't tell what's in there. But one of the neighbors was saying that,
So it's to make the light more directional?
yeah, it's trying to shade it from going into the houses.
Right.
But still, they're very bright. They're still way too bright. Yeah, they are. There's really no way around
All right.
it.
Well, we'll look at it on the way
There's
home.
still concrete steps going from
On the right-hand side there, go where they were, right?
on the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
All right. Item 13 is fuel bids.
Turn that into a bike path.
Everybody read that okay?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, this is pretty straightforward. We had 4 overall bidders. Only one, our current supplier, bid for road diesel at 28 cents over the Albany price, which is comparable to last year. That's a good deal. It's worked out very well this year. And again, you can't tell where the prices are going. Our fuel consumption this year, not our consumption, but our cost is again way down, just because of the overall price. For propane, you had 2 bidders. Again, our current supplier, GA Bove and Suburban. The WAC is the weighted average cost of propane at the head. Bove's is Selkirk plus 35 cents. So that is the transportation hub Selkirk plus 35 cents. That's their cost. Suburban would be 5 cents higher because we're basically looking at the same thing.
Not necessarily, the Selkirk may not be the WAC.
Yeah, it may not be. I tried to get an explanation on that and how they're going to come up with that, and they really
Okay,
couldn't
but,
provide that. Selkirk, yeah, is a straight add-on, 35 cents per gallon from Selkirk. And that's the same with the road diesel.
yeah, okay.
What I do like about Selkirk and Albany is I get those prices daily. So I can follow what we're being billed. The heating oil was more interesting. Again, we have the weighted average cost from Suburban. GA Bove, our current supplier, was 30 cents, again, at Albany. West Oil was 0.249 above the New York Journal, which is the same as the Selkirk price. The New York Journal is now called Opus. Green, I asked for an explanation of theirs because it was 19 cents above cost and freight. They were telling me that currently their freight at Bennington is 3.5 cents. I don't know how you project that into the future. So right now is 22.5, but I don't know how you project that out where you have a fixed thing from Bove, a fix from Suburban, and a fix from West Oil. So green seems a little variable, so the lowest priced one is West Oil by just about 5
5 cents.
5 cents a gallon.
Are we happy with the service that we've been getting from GA Bove?
Bove is excellent, there's no way around it. They deliver in double trucks. They deliver heating oil and diesel at the same time. They have multi-compartmental trucks, and I've called them and they've been here within a couple of hours. The service, it's the best service since I've been here. And they came and they replaced everything, they repaired everything, you call them and they respond.
I've had excellent service with them too, unprecedented.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to award all 3 fuel bids to GA Bove?
I make it.
Second.
Second by Tony.
Ken.
Ken. Second by Ken. Discussion?
Is there any way our local guys can compete with this?
This was put out, and it was, I sent letters to.
So this is their final.
This is it, yeah.
Okay.
And I did call Green, who had the contract, I think 2 years ago, for kind of an explanation of this, because it's not set. It's at their freight at Bennington, which can be variable.
Right.
You know, everybody else. The only variation we have with GA Bove is where the market goes. Because everything's fixed, no matter where it's going, it's 35 cents over the port charges at all Albany and
You know what
propane
you're
and
buying
sulfur.
with these guys anyway, right?
Yeah,
so
and I get daily the prices of all these commodities, so
sounds like great service.
I can see, look at the bill and see what date we got a delivery and what it should have been. So,
I was just kind of wondering if these guys could, you know, step up to the plate and match what they do, just to keep it local.
we can't go back out just to try and help a local person. Yeah. I still have Hoskins fuel tank out here. You know, they didn't bid this year and they lost last year, and I still have their fuel tank they haven't picked up. We've had a number of, it changes. We're not the same people every year, that's for sure. But we have to go with the most reliable supplier, and Bove has certainly proved to be that.
Also, Art's had great luck with it.
Yeah. Even when we made the transfer this year, it was very smooth, because we had to replace all the propane tanks, our diesel tank, and it was done quickly with no problem whatsoever. So
I guess I was just, you know, my heart goes out to the local guys. I just kind of wanted to.
we always welcome local people in,
yeah.
and the local bettors. And Suburban is local. Well, they have a local office. And West Oil for around here is pretty local. But nobody else has put in. It's advertised, and I sent out letters to our past suppliers this year, just trying to generate some more. And this is what we got back. Yeah.
Any more discussion? All in favor of awarding fuel bids for heating oil, propane, and road diesel to GA Bove, say aye. Aye. Motion is approved, 5-0-0. Other business.
I have nothing.
I got an email late today from Rob Stewart, the chair of our trustee of public accounts, that he's had trouble getting the bank to give him access to the trustees of public accounts fund, the trustee of public accounts account. Let me say that again. Trustee of public funds account. They have an account in our bank, and the bank said they need a person of authority to authorize that. We're kind of debating, Dave and I, whether that means the select board or the treasurer. We're going to go with both and try to get this problem solved so he can sign checks. So I suggest we make a motion. Shall Rob Stewart, chair of the Town of Shaftsbury Trustee of Public Funds, be granted check writing privileges for the trustees of public funds account at People's United Bank?
So moved.
Got a motion from Tony,
Second.
second by Art.
It only makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why make them trustee of public funds and not?
Can't have any money.
Well, the bank, I guess, in an abundance of caution,
Yeah, absolutely.
doesn't know Rob Stewart from Adam, so they want a piece of paper. So pass this motion, we'll send over, minutes on letterhead, and
Yep.
we'll also get the treasurer to say, I'm the treasurer, and I say he can write checks. And
That'll satisfy him.
between all of that, we ought to get the job done. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion is approved, 5-0-0. All right. Action items, I mentioned to Dave to include that RFP in the minutes for that motion we approved. I said I would send a list of FEMA training, the link to this FEMA training to the select board. We authorized Dave to prepare the grant application for the sidewalk.
And I will send the LEOP to everybody on the board, so everybody can see the final one.
Right, got that. And I think that's it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
Moved by Art, seconded by Tony. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned.